Hello, once again, Aloha, the Baha'i greeting to everyone on the planet, to those who are interested about the truth and the meaning of this meaningless life. My name is Abbas Temuri. I am one of the 5 elders of Baha'u'llah, sent for you in the planet to deal with the issue of this time. We have been explaining this sample writing of Baha'u'llah. Just imagine if it would take so long to explain rather a small writing of Baha'u'llah, how long it takes to explain 100 volumes of books. It's apparently a very huge problem. It is the problem of the planet Earth. For the first time, God is addressing it. So I've taken this project to explain this Mathnavi, the blessed Mathnavi of Baha'u'llah. We are getting right to the end of it, essentially. 18 more lines left. In this line, Baha'u'llah, after explaining a few lines, he then becomes personal. It's like an epilogue to his work here. So let's begin. You heard last time perhaps that we were talking about this hollow reed, the ney, which would mean the flute, the cane, the reed, and the piper. And that a lot of people, they think they have connection to God and they take their writing to be the songs of the piper and not of themselves, meaning they're talking on behalf of God. Baha'u'llah, ironically, does not call himself ney, which is the pipe, but he says, I am the na'i, I am the piper. And he goes, Pas ze na'i bishno'in asrarha. Thus, from the na'i, the piper, bishno, listen, in this asrarha, mysteries. He says, listen to me, that I am giving you these mysteries. Ta bari buyi az in gulzarha. Ta til bari means you take, buyi, a smell, a fragrance, as from in this, gulzar means garden, flower garden. Gulzarha means gardens. So he says, thus listen to the piper, listen to this mysteries, till you take a fragrance, smell of these flower gardens. Flower gardens is his writings. Now he's saying things here that is open for discussions for probably centuries to come. He says, Yek sharar az naur ishqash barfrucht. Yek means one, sharar means a spark. As from nar means fire. Ishq means love. Ishqash, the last she, is a pronoun, means his love. Barfrucht, set fire, set blazed, created a fire. So one is spark from the fire of his life he set fire. Kharman hasti sultani besucht. The hip of the existence, sultani means kingly. The hip, Kharman is the hip of kingly existence burned away. So kingly existence means, a lot of existence, a lot of huge, power. It says burned away because of that one sparkle. Then he says چون جمالش پرده از رخ برکشید چون when جمالش his beauty پرده veil as from رخ face برکشید take away. So when he took away from his face that veil, from his beauty that veil, پرده means veil or curtain, پرده اجلال سلطانان درید. Actually it has to be ajlal. It's ajlal would be a plural. Ijlal, it becomes an infinite noun. So the curtain of the glories of the kings was turned asunder. It says when he took away from his beauty the veil from the glory of the kings were turned asunder. That means the king had no real glory when his glory showed up. Now he totally becomes personal Baha'u'llah here. And he takes us to questions. He says, Khord chantiri. Khord means ate, but in here, khord means struck. Khord chantiri ze mojgan negar. Khord means struck, chon when. Tiri means an arrow, like an arrow. An arrow from mojgan, plural for moje, mojgan means eyelid, of the negar. Negar means the beloved. So that's a simile, again used into the Sufism. As I said before, they have created an avatar of a woman to explain the beauty of God. And there they use the eyelid of the long eyelid of the beloved. Sounds like a dart, an arrow that goes into the heart of the person who's admiring her. So it says when I struck a dart or an arrow from the eyelid of the beauty, bardaridu sadr jawne shahriyaw. He's talking about himself now. He says he was struck by a dart from the beauty of that most beautiful ones. Bardarid, again, burst, basically killed, opened. Burst, he, sadre, the heart, the spiritual heart of the king. Shahriyar means king. Jan means soul, the spiritual here means. Sadr means the chest, It could be translated heart too. So that eyelid of the beauty, the most beautiful, like a dart when she looked at Baha'u'llah, burst open is a spiritual heart. Then he says very amazing words. تاج شاهی را ز سر آن دم فکند. Taj means the crown. Shahi means the king, kingly. Ra there. Ze means from. Sar means head. On them at that moment. Fekant, throw. So when he was struck from the beauty, from the look, the beauty of the eye of the beloved, that eyelid of it opened his heart. And Taj Shahiro, the crown, the kingly crown, he threw from his head at the moment. He just threw away crown of the kingdom. What happened to him? بنده گشت و وانگه افتاد و ببند. Bande means became like us. We're called bande. Bande means servant. Translation center, servant. Also means a slave. But the bande Khuda means the servant of God. In Saudi Arabia, wrongly they have translated everywhere where it says Abdu'l-Baha is the slave of Allah, because they like slavery, so they think Allah is enslaving them, therefore they should enslave other people. But actually, Abdu'l-Baha means the servant of God, and Bande also means servant. Bande gashtu, became servant. Gasht means become. Became servant, and on that moment, Anga is a short abbreviated for the word Anga. Gah means time, moment. And on that moment, Uftad, fell. He, be, to, band, chain. So, he threw the crown, the kingly crown, from his head, threw it down. And he became a slave. He became a servant like us. And at that time, he fell into chain. Let me translate the rest and we'll go back again onto it to clarify this. He says, Hamcho, like, Saidi. Said means prey. Saidi means a prey. Like a prey, that's the Sayyadi fital. Fall into the hand of Sayyad means the prayer. So, like a Said, fall, fital means fall, into the hand of a prayer. Hunter, Sayyad. No. Actually, this is the correct word. What am I saying? So, Sayyad means a hunter. Like a prey, fall into the hand of a hunter. What would that hunter be, you think? یا چه کاهی در دم بادی فتاد. Or like a straw, a hay, a straw, fall into the blowing of the wind. You know how wind blows a straw, you know. So I'm going to go back again to explain this. He says, when he was struck from a dart of the eyelid of the beloved, it burst open the heart of the king, which is himself. He threw away the crown of the kingdom and became a servant, and at that time he fell into chain. Like a prey, fall into the hand of a hunter, or like a straw of a hay, fall into the blowing of the wind. So, I've always, wondered, who's Baha'u'llah in love with? Does he have another beloved? What else could be bigger and better? When we talk about God, I'll explain in this Mathnavi on the very beginning, God seems to be the source, not the active force of creation, but the very source of it. The active force of creation happens when there is two elements. Without it, the motion and the movement cannot take place. And these two are essentially the will of God and the prime matter, which are both from God, but they are not God. Interactions of the mind and matter have created this universe. So, when we talk about Baha'u'llah, we're talking about the manifestation of God. In addition to the fact that Baha'u'llah is also a person manifesting that power. Just as we have many selves in us, such as vegetable selves, animal selves, and human self, Baha'u'llah has an extra program installed on him. He comes with that program, even the day that he's born. That program differentiates him from other beings, just like we are different from animals, he would be different from us. He's a different species of existence. Nonetheless, he is not the actual Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah, or the actual glory of God, responsible for entire creation in this life and the life to come. But Baha'u'llah is the manifestation of that power. So when Baha'u'llah talks in here, he's referring to the fact that he knows what is in him and who his reality is. Like sometimes my animal complains, if he had been able to talk, would complain from the human that human did this to me or do that to me, or sometimes praise of the human because of the human program. I've been saved, if animal could. Here the human Baha'u'llah talks about the other program that I said we don't know what it is, but we know it is something so huge and different, and that's what makes the prophets. That what did that program installation did to him. You see, this crown, throw the crown out and it became a servant. It could be a reference to him being the son of the vizier, the son of the minister of the Shah. He was royalty, the aristocrats in Iran, very wealthy, way on the top, and he left it all because of his encounter, as he says, alluding to it in the Siyah Chal and the Black Pit, the dungeon in Iran. They had this encounter, a force coming to him. This struck of that, it exactly refers to what happened in that Siyah Chal, when he found the force coming from his head down to his chest, which he says he left the entire kingdom or whatever was kingly, and he fell into the slavery. But we know Baha'u'llah, before even was in the Siyah Chal, he was a Baha'u'llah and he knew what he is. Those things are reference for us, believe me. Abdu'l-Baha says Baha'u'llah did not become Baha'u'llah. To say that, then you have to trace evolution. It's like I became a human, I was animal. That's not true. I was born as a human, with animal program and vegetable program in me. So Baha'u'llah is born with the Holy Spirit installed on his body, on his soul, alongside of his human, his animal, and his vegetable, powers. So this is referring, in my opinion, to something even bigger. He's talking about that real Baha'u'llah, the very God, that as if he's bored and he goes, let's say, in a room and in a state of trance, and he then manifests his power onto the earth, then he kind of transfers here. But again, he can't transfer, all we know that. When we say the word manifestation, that means God or Baha'u'llah will never move from where he is. But still, the connection shows the very God of the universe is busy. with what is being revealed here. Just like the queen on the television. Must be in a room, but thousands of TV shows her. So in that way, it shows God Himself. Is in love with something. What would that be? There isn't another God for him to fall in love with. He couldn't love with what he made in a way, because that's egoism too. I mean, some people are in love with their arts and this and that. Baha'u'llah probably loves the entire creation, but he's not in love with it. But there, he is in love with something. Believe it or not, that is you. He's in love with you. And I know it. It's a very strange story going on in this universe. Very strange. He's in love with you because he has given his very willpower to you. It is in you. You are the mini God. You do things that he doesn't know. You have a willpower. It's like a mother or a father who is so much in love with their children. He's in love with you. With you, human being, he's in love with. What a sad story is in this universe. The creator of the universe is in love with his creature. I have written one Mathnavi myself. In there I have put this question to God, that who are you in love with? And why are you suffering? Even you do not have happiness. And I've answered, the beloved of God is human being. He's in love with the intelligence, with this intelligent one in this planet and everywhere else in the universe. Just like his child. He's been lonely, and the solution to his loneliness would be that a part of him manifest here in the form of human being. And there he comes to visit him. And the baby and the child will beat him up. Doesn't know him. And he suffers and he suffers. So this is something to understand, you know. What is this crown of the kingdom he throws away and he becomes a slave? What does that mean? It's a huge cycle, you see. In Quran it talks about that cycle. We are from God and we are going to Him, he says. So somehow there is a flow, a big cycle in this universe. Just like the clouds drops, drop of water comes down into the earth and it goes into the river, joins the ocean and evaporates again, it goes back to the cloud. It is the same thing. Many of us who can survive on the next life, very few in fact, And after that life they die again to go to another life. In the next life the characters are there. There are Abbas and there are Hussein and there are John and there are Jim. The eye away from there, the molds are gone. What's left in the mold, it would be all the attributes. People are distinguished not by person, but what is actually they contain and they're composed of, which is these attributes of God, the colors in the rainbow. And even from that level of life, they would die again. What will be left would be the essence of all the attributes, which is love. And that joins God. And it comes back again, goes on and again. It is the cycle of the existence. Abdu'l-Baha refers to these cycles in the some answered questions. So, yeah, when you know very much, then know more and more, then more and more you know how small you are. How nothing I am. Many people in the future, they come and judge and they say that this man was one of the most brilliant mind. Which, if there is any brilliance, as Baha'u'llah says, it comes from him. All the good things come from him. If it is bad, then it's of mine. Is the lack of the power and distinguishing that I couldn't fill it up with the proper water. I could not receive the clarity of the message he was sending in. And so on and so forth. But in reality, I hope God forgive me. I hope Baha'u'llah forgive me. I hope he takes me with him. And I know that place where he is, there is not paradise. Paradise is for those who did good things. I am from a different band. We're not after recompense. We're like cows who have to give the milk away or we die. Okay, I have 2 more videos to finish this up. Oh, I feel so frail. I have certain chores coming up that I have to do. I am so sorry for existence, even in Canada, that I have to do those things. Whatever I wash myself from these damn material things, it just comes and stick to me, into my mind, into my body, as if I'm in the middle of a tornado and I cannot help the damn things. Okay. But if anything left from my life, I will have to have few words with Americans. Few more videos. I'm going to detect them, to dissect them, to analyze them and tell them where they came from and where they're going to. Very well. May the glory of God, Baha'u'llah, be with all of you.